Hi everyone, Jill from Red Tent Australia. I'm sitting with Kim Thomson, who is coming all the way from New South Wales, from Coffs Harbour, to come and present at Boundless Self-Love Retreat. So first of all, hello Kim, and thank you so much for coming to the retreat.
Hi Jill, and thanks. Yeah, I'm so excited.
So I'd love to tell you a little bit about Kim. Kim is a certified clinical aromatherapist who specialises in women's well-being, hormones, as well as pre and postnatal care. Kim facilitates workshops as well as offering one-on-one sessions with women via Skype or in her clinic at Valla in the mid-coast of New South Wales. Kim's gift to you at Boundless Self-Love Retreat, Invoking the Warrior Woman, is a workshop about bringing your warrior woman back into balance naturally. So balanced hormones are like the legs of a table. If one of them is slightly wobbly, then it can really put the whole table off kilter. In the case of hormones, the four legs are our physical makeup, including our hormone levels, our emotional well-being, our mental well-being, including stress and our environment, which is our diet and exercise, and the chemicals that we're exposed to on a daily basis. So if any of these are not right, then we can really experience a myriad of symptoms from hormonal imbalance. And this workshop, Kim is going to take us through looking at natural, simple ways of bringing us back into balance. Fabulous. What a wonderful offering. So, Kim, can you tell us what was it that influenced you and made you want to come and present at the retreat?
I went to the retreat that Red Tent had in Sydney in May last year that Bree organised, and you came along, and I met some beautiful women there. I did some awesome workshops, and I thought, wow, I'd love to go to another one of these and maybe I can present. So I kind of sent something in and I got accepted. So here I am.
Fabulous. And the work that you do, the knowledge that you have, and we were speaking just before the recording, and it really resonated with me how important it is. So what do you think it is that drives you to do this work?
I had my own fertility challenges. I had difficulty falling pregnant. I had been on a particular contraceptive for about 15 years, and in all that time I wasn't ovulating, and no one sort of said to me what the dangers were or what the risks were. I didn't realize how much of an impact it had on my physical health and especially my emotional health. So when I actually sort of started, investigating why I had fertility issues, that's when I started to find out about, my low progesterone levels and the impact that the contraceptive had. But not just that, all the other chemicals that I'd been exposed to through all my personal care products, all of that kind of stuff. And I really didn't know what I didn't know. And I sort of thought, if I'm a relatively smart woman, how come I don't know some of this stuff? Why haven't people told me? And so I started telling other women, and they were like, oh, well, I didn't know that either. And then we started basically just having women's circles and talking about these issues. And so when I actually went and studied aromatherapy, there were a couple of different options that I could specialise in, and one of them was women's hormones, mostly menopause, but I've sort of branched out since doing that, and pre and postnatal care. So I kind of thought, well, this is kind of my calling because I have personal experience and, I'm passionate about it, and I want other women to not have to go through what I went through, and so that's why I do what I do.
So thank you on behalf of the women that are coming to this retreat to hear what you're going to be sharing, and it's so incredibly valuable. And we don't know. We aren't taught this stuff. So it's coming to things like this retreat where people will leave with so much more awareness that can actually change their whole lives. So thank you. Can you share with the women that are watching and coming to the retreat a time when you've had to invoke your warrior woman?
So this is probably a quite deeply personal story. I've actually been in two quite toxic relationships in my life. One was very physically violent, and it was when I was 19. I was a struggling uni student and was financially dependent on my partner, but that wasn't really what kept me in the relationship. What kept me in the relationship was the violent threats that my partner at the time was making, not just towards me, but towards my family. And I did call the police numerous times and take out AVOs against my partner. And I mean, he had guns, and it was quite a dangerous situation, especially for my father, because my dad is actually blind. And some of the things that he used to threaten were that he, because he knew that I had such low self-esteem at the time that I really didn't care what happened to me, but I didn't want anyone else in my life to be harmed. And so he used to threaten to actually harm my father, and he knew that would keep me in the relationship. And he obviously, there was a lot of substance abuse issues and all of that kind of stuff. And I left many times, as many women do. And I guess when I finally left, I got support from a women's organisation, and I was actually going through uni myself. Like, I used to always think that domestic violence was only in those kind of houses. It wasn't in my kind of house, and it didn't happen to women like me. And so I felt that isolation that we talked about earlier. Like, I felt like I was the only one, like, and everyone must think that I'm so stupid to have got into this kind of relationship. And especially because I was studying social sciences and all of this kind of work at uni at the time, how could I have found myself in this situation? And so anyway, when I actually, I obviously had to do a lot of work on myself and go through counselling, and I wanted to actually give back. So not in my first job that I got after leaving uni, but in my second job, I ran a neighbourhood centre, and we worked with the local family support service, and we used to run 10-week women's circles, basically, for women escaping domestic and family violence. And we also did kids programs, and then we branched out into doing actually what we called Moving On, which was a weekend workshop for women who'd escaped domestic and family violence. And so we worked in partnership with some amazing other services to sort of provide a wraparound for women. And I felt like I was able to give back. And but I had to find my own warrior woman to be able to step up and to give back. And whenever I run groups, I'm never the expert. I'm just one of the group, because no one is an expert on anyone else's lives. And so, I did that for a few years, and then I moved and I got married, and my marriage actually failed. And, that's probably another challenging time in my life. But after that, because my own self-esteem and confidence and all of that kind of stuff had gone out the window, and I was a struggling single mum, and once again I found myself in another toxic relationship. It wasn't as physically violent as the one earlier, but it was emotionally abusive. And again, I had to go through this whole struggle of rebuilding my own confidence and realizing what narcissistic behavior is, and that it wasn't me who was crazy. And I guess it's about finding, like that inner strength and supporting, finding other women who can support you. Well, not just women, but other people that can surround you and hold you up. And and so I guess that's when I've had to find my warrior woman. And the message that I've always given to other women is that you aren't alone. Your circumstance might be quite different to mine, but there's other women out there who can at least understand what it's like for you. So yeah,
absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing those different times in your life. And I know that the women that are watching this, and certainly me, I can completely relate to those different times in our lives when we've had to really, and we don't do it alone. Yes, we have to be the one to make the decision, but there does have to be that circle of support. And that is the main reason why we've chosen this theme this year, Invoking the Warrior Woman. It's not about going into battle. It's not about fighting anybody or taking anybody down. It's actually about support, going into to support your sisters and the circle of support, that you're supporting yourself and supporting the women around you, and creating that never ending, that you've got somebody to go to, that there is somebody else that has been through something similar to you. And that to me it's priceless, because when we're feeling like we're the only one, that's a really it's a really lonely place to be. So eliminating isolation is the goal. And I really, really thank you, Kim, for sharing that story. And I can't wait to see you in May. For those that are watching, Kim Thomson is the presenter that's going to be balancing the warrior woman. It's going to be fabulous, and we really want to see you at Boundless Self-Love Retreat, Invoking the Warrior Woman, last weekend in May. Please secure your spot now. Thank you. Thanks, Kim.
Thank you. Thank you.